going to be an awful place. Hell's going to be an awful place. I don't think nobody will go there. I don't think nobody ought to go to that awful place called hell. But there's millions today that are going there. I read just the other day, hell has been liars herself. But you know what always said up above that? Because my people have no knowledge. They have no knowledge. Hell has enlarged her mouth, and that without measure. Never do read where heaven has to be built any bigger. You hear me tonight, young folks. You hear me, moms and dads. You hear me, moms and people tonight that have lollygagged around on God. Amen. There's going to be a day come. You're going to wish you'd have done better. There's going to be a day come. You'll wish you'd have prayed around that altar. Preacher man, there'll be a day come. You'll wish you'd have buried your knees in that altar. Hadn't backslid on God and then went on to act like you was all right. There'll be a day come, young man or young lady. Amen. You'll wish you'd have given your life to God. I can guarantee you tonight, that young lady somewhere in America tonight that's infected with AIDS tonight, that shot them drugs in her vein, and thought, man, this is the coolest thing ever was. It ain't cool now. It ain't cool to die. Amen. Laying in a bed with AIDS destroying your body. That young man that started, I remember not long back, could have been maybe longer on my mind, but days anymore don't seem like it was but yesterday. But I remember a young man going to do drugs. His wife went to the bedroom where he's at and said, please don't do that. Please don't do that. Aren't you tired of living that way? And he said, listen to me. I'm going to do it one more time. I'm going to do it one more time, and I'm going to quit. Never do it again. I can take you to where that boy's buried at tonight. He did it one more time. He did it the last time. When he done that, Brother Lee, he went into convulsions. Before the ambulance could ever get there to revive that boy, he was already just about gone. And either died there or died en route to the hospital. Gonna do it just one more time. Just one more time. That's all I'm gonna do. I'll be done then. The devil said, okay, buddy, that's the way you want to play. We'll just shoot for the moon tonight. And he did it. And tonight that boy's buried past his grave not long ago. I looked down at it, and I thought of that testimony. That his uncle told me that very thing. That ain't hearsay for him. That comes from the lips of his own uncle. He said, I'm going to do it one more time. Then I'm done. How many more times will you live in sin? How many more times will you go another step and another step? Brother Bill, if you had to turn to God when you did, we might have been visiting your grave this past Memorial Day. But thank God, Jesus reached out his hand. Thank God, he reached out his hand. And he said, come to me, all you that labor are heavy laden. Don't stop trusting God. Don't stop believing. Sister Linda, we got to trust him. When the devil says it ain't going to work, God says it will work. When the devil says you might as well give up and quit, Angie, ain't no telling how many times that the devil said, your daddy, he'll never change. But you know, this Sunday could be the very Sunday that he changes. Don't stop trusting God. When it looks so bad, when my daddy was dying and going to hell, me and Jennifer used to go by there every night, and sometimes he'd get drunk 2 and 3 nights at a time in a row, and he'd drink his paycheck up, or his little old check that he draws. He'd drink it up and he'd borrow money from Janet's daddy and other people to get money to make it on another month. Then he'd drink it up again. And boy, you don't know how dark it looked. You don't know how bad it looked. But God just kept saying, don't give up. And finally in Elkton, Kentucky one night, God put the stamp of approval on it. There was a man named Clyde Brown, like the Clyde Brown that lives down here, but his name was Clyde Brown. He was exactly the same age as my daddy. And he came down. I preached all week long. Clyde got out of his seat and came down to the altar. He gave his life to Jesus, and I was praying with him that night. And I prayed so hard, and I worked and went and preached and preached and preached. And man, I tell you, that man got saved that night. His family all got around him. His wife, I'll never forget it, she just hugged him and he's shouting. Brother Dorsey was just a shouting. I sat down on the altar there, so tired and lonely. And I heard this voice say, yeah, you're 80-something miles over here preaching. Saturday night. And I bet you don't know that your daddy's at home in a truck drunk. Here you are. You're over here preaching and other people saying it, getting saved. And where's God at? What's God done for you? Boy, I tell you what, for just a split second there, the enemy just was really, really, really working. And all of a sudden, there was another voice that spoke to me and said, have I ever failed you? You do what I called you to do. I'll save you, Daddy. I'll save you, Daddy. I wrote it down. God spoke to me in Elton, Kentucky. Said, I'll save your father. Just a few years later, my daddy was diagnosed with prostate cancer. It was hard. I watched him as Brother Roger, he got down so frail that he weighed less than 100 pounds. The lady that gave him shots at the hospital of a night, she would cry. Her name was Susan. And she would cry because Brother Mackey, he didn't have no meat on his bones, and she'd hit bones, and she'd cry, and he'd jerk because it would hurt him. And she even emailed me not long ago, living in Florida, and had found the Church of God website and said, is this the Danny Patrick that I took care of his father at the hospital? I worked at the Allen County Hospital. Matt emailed her back, didn't he? I can't email. I don't even know how to turn a computer on. I can't type. I can't hardly write my name, much less type one. So if you get a bad email, I didn't send it. We emailed her back, said, yes, it is. She said, he was my favorite patient of all my years of being a nurse. Your daddy was my favorite. My dad got so close to dying, time and time again. Real quickly, one night, Sister Linda, I was on my way over here to a revival. And Marty called me and said, your daddy is bad sick. Your daddy is really, really bad sick. And I went by his house. Brother Art, I went in, he was lying on the couch. He had drank for a week solid. He was passing blood, but we couldn't find him. And he was lying on the couch, Mark. I remember going over to your pa, and I said, Pat, are you okay? And he said, son, I've never been so sick in my life. I said, well, will you get up and let me take you to the hospital? He said, I don't even think I can get up. I don't think I can get up. I said, well, let me set you up, and let's see if you. This is the truth. If I ever told the truth, this is the truth. Tim, I set him up on the couch. No sooner than I got him upright on that couch, my daddy's eyes rolled back in his head. He gasped about twice, and he was dying. He was dying. I promise it's true. And just the Spirit of God come over me, and I smacked him in the chest. And I rebuked death, and I said, he cannot die. God, don't let my daddy die. He's going to hell. Marty began to panic. She said, do I need to call 911? And I just kept praying. God, don't let my daddy die. It's the truth. God struck me dead. It's the truth. My daddy's eyes opened up. And he started saying, Lord, save me. Lord, save me. Help me, Jesus. But he didn't get saved that night. We took him to the hospital. They put him in the hospital. Stayed there for about 7 days. Couldn't find where the blood was going. But all of a sudden, the blood count came up. They said, we'll dismiss him. Send him home. Went right back to that bottle. Right back to that laying in that truck drunk. You know why my dad was so depressed? Over the life that he lived. And over the way that he lived. That he could not outrun the prayers of a little woman that was already in heaven. That had sown a field of prayers. And said, God, don't let him die lost. Don't let him die lost. And so I picked up the Mary and started praying for my daddy. It got down to where it was 3 months before my daddy was going to leave this world. October the 1st, 1991, my dad died. I just closed out a revival in Gallatin, Tennessee, when Brother Tommy Reeves was pastoring Cornerstone Church. My daddy